So, do you want to describe for everyone that doesn't know the euphoria of when you heard Christy Moore was going to cover one of your songs for his album?
Well, I got an email saying, how you, Rob? I've been listening to your song. Will you give us a call on this number for an old chat?" And I think I was like, I was thinking back to being a teenager and thinking, okay, if I call too quickly, I'll seem a bit needy. You know, I was like a lovelorn teenager, kind of go, no, I'll leave it for a while. I'll wait a few hours before you reply. I was telling myself, didn't want to make it seem too keen, but then sure enough, probably about 5 minutes later, I rang him, and he just said he loved the song. Dylan Walsh had sent it to him. Do you know Dylan Walsh?
Yeah, I do know Dylan Walsh. I was actually emailing him saying that you were coming on the program, and he had some very kind words to share about yourself. He said you're an absolute
nice.
gentleman and that you have great stories. So I said, I'm very thankful that you're coming on. I'm very honored that you're here too, because to get the fanboy section out of the way, huge fan. I used to listen to that song and indeed Inverse Alchemy when I would buy my guitar strings when I lived in Boston. The idea behind it was, you see, I lived in a suburb of Massachusetts that was very close to a mall where that film, I don't know if you've seen it, Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah, I've seen bits of it, yeah. I don't think I lasted all the way through it, but yeah, I've seen it.
So that was literally around the corner from me, but there's no bike path or footpath or whatever. I don't know what it's like in London, but at least in the States, you have to drive everywhere if there's no public transport. So it would cost me $30 round trip to go get a pack of guitar strings down the road. Or for a $5, I could go 15 miles to Fenway Park and go to that guitar center. And on my trips, I'd just be listening to all this music. And Inverse Alchemy was the soundtrack to my summer that year. So I'm very, very happy that you're on this. And thanks for coming on.
It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure. And that's really nice of Dylan to say that. My admiration is mutual with Dylan. But and it was Dylan's in contact with Christy Moore now and again. You know, Christy's a great man for ringing out of the blue just to check how things are going. You know, he's kind of looks after his flock, you know. But so Dylan had actually sent him the song, my song, and said to him, "I think you'll like this one." And that's where Christy got a hold of it. But that time then, where he contacted me and I rang him, it was very typical, or I've learned that it's typical of Christy. He's incredibly gracious, and he asked my permission if he could give it a go. You know, that was I'd love your permission to have a go at it, or have a go at her. I can't remember which he said, but I was like, yeah, absolutely, you know. But obviously, massive honor, because I always thought, as an interpreter of songs, I always thought like that. For a songwriter, the highest honor would have been, you know, to be covered by Johnny Cash, Nina Simone, or Christy Moore, you know. And sure enough, the only living one contacted me, and yeah, I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier about that.
And he did
so we
such
spent yeah, no, he did a beautiful. I actually listen to his version and go, Jesus, that's a good song. You know, because when you listen to your own songs, you sometimes, or you just don't hear your own songs anymore. You know, to step back of it, there's stuff in the song that I'd kind of forgotten about, and I was kind of going, oh Jesus, yeah, I remember that. You know, it was interesting, and learning his process. There was a couple of months there where we'd chat on the phone about once a week, and he was updating me on his progress, and his progress was about getting under the skin of the song, finding a way that he could, I forget the phrase he used, you know, finding a way in, you know, that he could get under the skin of it. And part of that was he'd asked my permission to change it just a couple of phrases to, as he says, you know, you're a Dub and I'm a Kildare man, so we'd say things differently. So just to rephrase a few things, and always asked my permission, and then asked what I thought about it. But I just realized how seriously he takes songs. He doesn't just go, "Oh, I'll cover that," and then sit down and play it. He took months finding a way into it, and that's a great lesson I learned. How sincere and earnest he is about music and songs.
Yeah, he's
So,
he's like a wine connoisseur for songs. He
yeah,
he said to me on the message boards one day, because he doesn't have social media or anything. I think he has a Twitter account run by his promo team or his son or something. But
yeah. I think it might be a family member doing it. Yeah, yeah.
if you go to his
Sorry, yeah, go on.
website, you can actually leave him a message and he himself will reply. And I was talking about covering songs one day or something, and to my surprise, he said, "Well, Paddy, the thing is, covering songs is a lot like donning a coat. You have to pick the right fit." And I just thought that's such a clever analogy, because he only picks
Yeah,
top tier songs. And I'm sure, as you said, it is a great honor to have, Christy Moore singing your song every night. And I looked into the credits. Now, it might be different on your end, but at least from what I can tell, he didn't claim a songwriting credit in that at all.
no, no, none at all. No, no.
Which is great, because
Uh,
that means all the
yeah,
royalties go to you, which is
yeah,
such a kind thing to do.
yeah. No, he didn't. There was no messing, no percentages for him at all. It was all just he very quickly. Once he was going to be performing it for the first time, this long before he recorded it, he messaged me asking me for the ISRC code and everything, so that I'd get me performance royalties for it and stuff like that. So,
Gentlemen.
yeah. So yeah, it's been great. And then obviously, more people have discovered my music now thanks to Christy. Um, and there's a great pub which is it's struggling to survive now, unfortunately, called the Betsy Trotwood in London. They've got it's a normal sized pub, but their upstairs is a lovely folk venue. Downstairs they've a kind of a basement kind of crypt venue, which there'd be full bands in there as well. And sometimes they've bands in the middle bar. So it's not uncommon for there to be 3 gigs on at any one time. And then I have to be careful how I say that. Let's say a lock in, right? A lock in till
Yeah.
hours after. They might not appreciate me saying that, but anyway. But they're struggling now anyway. But I was to play a gig there one Thursday night, and Christy was playing in London the weekend before, and he put me on the guest list, and he played that song, and he was playing in the Royal Festival Hall 2 nights, so a couple of thousand people each night. And he plays the song and he stands up. "No, ladies and gentlemen, that's written by a young man in the audience there, Rob Corcoran. And Rob Corcoran's playing the Betsy Trotwood on Thursday night, and it's at this address," and all like that. So I had to call the Betsy Trotwood next day and say, "What's the capacity of the upstairs venue? We might need to book 2 nights of it." So yes, that's an example. Christy's been sending everyone my way. I don't know of a performance of it that either friends have been at or I've been at or seen online that he hasn't afterwards credited me to the whole audience. Now that's way beyond the call of what beyond his obligations. He just does it out of to support other musicians. Yeah, great guy.
It's
So.
really a great honor to have.